drop, it's a blow up. H2O clouds submerged, that's a roll up. NK locked and on sight when the Nets came. Watch a nigga spray for 7 words when the Nets say. Did what we had to do, full for the sensei. Full body control, did whatever the sensei. Now our numbers together, shot up like the Kempe. Linked up with the Pops, the Don Perry. Yeah, healing back at the olive tree. 2 branches unchained like former parolees. Feet shy with the word cracking the concrete. Unity means an increase, that's how it should be. That's right. Yeah, blood thick in the water combined. We could build, call the Lord to heat up the mortars. Joshua 6 united, it's an all-out slaughter. Sons of Judah and Eve from all the sides of the altar.
So I'm gonna get into what he was just talking about right there, right? So they wanted to play a part inside of what we were learning, and they wanted to infiltrate our minds, the black man and black woman's mind, right? So this is what they did. There's this book that I like to pull often when we come out to teach, along, you know, co-signer of the Bible, right? And there's this book right here called Brainwashed. Now, during the times when we was in the slave fields, right, when we was in hardcore bondage, we had shackles on our hands and on our necks and everything. They had to play this part. I want you to listen real good to this. And sis, you in the car as well, listen real good to this. Yeah, start from right there.
It says, not only did white America become convinced of white superiority and black inferiority.
So whites being on top, blacks being on bottom. So white America became convinced about that, right? And we see some of that today. We see it a lot today, right? All right, watch this, come on.
But it strove to impose these racial beliefs.
So this is how it strove to push that belief of white superiority and black inferiority. Here's how, go ahead.
On the Africans themselves.
So the Africans is talking about us.
Right.
Now it's the Israelites because they got us from Africa. That's why they call us Africans. Come on.
Slave masters gave a great deal of attention to education.
So they gave a great deal of attention to our education. What else?
And training of the ideal slave.
So now I want you to pause there for a second. Give me Deuteronomy 28:48. So it says they gave a great deal of attention to our education and to training up the ideal slave. Right? Why is this? The book of Deuteronomy. What's up with this screen and all these motorcycles? Come on.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
Now, who's this talking about, you know? It's talking about us? Sis, you with me? Who's this talking about? Who's this talking about, this verse right here? Okay, come on.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee.
So now, you know, huh?
Slaves.
Right, but why did he send our enemies against us?
Because we was cursed.
How? Because of what?
Because we didn't keep the commandments.
Right, we didn't keep the commandments. So he said he'll send our enemies against us. And go ahead.
Sent against thee and hunger.
So when you want food, you have to go to places like Piggly Wiggly, McDonald's, Burger King, Walmart. All of these establishments, the food industry in total is owned by our enemies. Right? Come on.
And in thirst. And in nakedness.
So that's water, that's clothing, right? You have to go to your enemies for that. Come on.
And in want of all things.
That part. It says, and in want of all things, right? You know what that goes into? Think about what we just read out of here. He said the slave master. Read that again.
Slave masters gave a great deal of attention to the education and training of the ideal slave.
So now, as far as education goes, right? What were we taught our God looks like?
White.
Yeah,
White, white.
Right. Is he actually? No, he's not. According to the scriptures, we got Revelation 1:14. We got it on the photo over there, right? Right. And we're gonna pull that. I'm gonna have him pull it. Christ is black. The angels are black. God is black. His people are black.
That's right.
But we were taught since the slave time. Even though, like for example, I'll give you a good example. Do you celebrate Easter?
No.
You don't? Do you celebrate any of these Christian holidays?
I don't celebrate.
Okay, good. I would ask you.
I used to, right? When I was younger, I did. But
Okay.
I got older and started reading.
So I read. Okay. What about you said Muslim earlier? Do you do anything in regards to that?
Ramadan, no. When I was young, I did fast on Ramadan, yeah. But,
Okay.
I was just going along with the program.
Well, what do you do now? What do you do now? You said nothing? Okay. I'm gonna tell you. The slave master still imposes your thought process, right? You wanna know how he do it? He do it by his television.
That's right.
He imposes his thoughts inside of your head. His vision, his thoughts, his mindset is inside of your head by what he puts on TV.
Right.
So he keeps us docile as long as we're in front of that television.
Just about everything we do. I mean, just about everything we do, is brainwash. It's just to keep you focused on, on him, white American, white man, slave master.
Right.
To be honest.
So what should we be focused on instead? You said Christ? Right. What else? Because it's him, but I want you to dig deeper inside of it. There's more. Okay, so here's how you start.
I mean, our people.
Okay, here's how you start. You see what it says here? Read that bottom part again.
And the want of all things.
That part that our slave masters taught us, we got to reverse all of that.
That's right.
Everything, what you have to take into account is from this day forward, everything that you've learned has to get tossed in the garbage.
That's right.
And then you have to restart.
Right.
Everything you learn, you have to restart.
That's a fact.
Right, because even the way we treat our brothers,
Right.
how we treat our sisters,
Program that way.
yeah, I like the word you use. We were programmed to think that way. Brainwashed. The way our sisters treat us, all of that got to change.
That's right.
Now I'm gonna tell you this, in regards to our sisters, because a lot of our men seems to get weak towards the sisters, right? They only have that mouthpiece on them, and the way they act, they only can do that with white countries. They can't do that if they go deeper into Africa.
Right.
That's right.
They can't do that in other Arab countries. They can't do that if they go to China. They only do it here and in Europe.
Right.
The so-called white man in the Bible is called Esau. They push that thought process inside of our sister's head to get over on us.
Right.
That's why it says this. Read that one more time.
And in want of all things.
So when he taught us, he made sure that he flipped the script. He flipped the role inside of our household. Because we came here as slaves together. And best believe we're going to get delivered together.
That's right.
Read on.
And he.
That same enemy that put yokes of iron on our neck, castrated our sisters, our brothers, cut the sisters' bellies open and took the babies out. All this evil stuff happened to him. That same enemy, go ahead.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck
So he'll put a yoke of iron on your neck and then do what?
until he have destroyed thee.
Here's the proof of that. When the officer had asked what your nationality was, you said American black, right? Now let me explain to you how that's a byword.
Bring it out.
Every nation, right now, if you ask them their nationality, you can go to that country they just said that they are,
That's right.
right? But then, think about it now. How did we get here?
After they brought on the ship.
Yeah,
They changed.
yeah. Now see, you just acknowledged that we got brought here.
Yeah.
All of us, doesn't matter, blacks, so-called Hispanics, right? We was brought here. But yet we call ourselves the land that we were held captive. That's not our
That's not the
nationality.
program. From lack of knowledge.
I'm with you. I want you to see it. I want you to see that thing. Because we were destroyed in our minds, we don't know anything else but American. So like, well, since I'm here and I was born here, I'm gonna just call myself American.
Right.
The so-called white man, he can call themselves Caucasian. They go back to the Caucasus Mountains. The Chinese call themselves Chinese because they're from China.
Right.
They're over that way. You see what I'm saying? Our names, our nationality, our culture, everything is about has been destroyed.
That's right.
We have no identity. We don't know who we are.
Right. But now you have to start to rebuild from that. Come on, come back.
That's right.
We at 48. Get me back to Maccabees 6 and 6. So I want to continue to deal with that thy word. I want to continue to deal with that. All right, watch this. Because something came with that. When he called us, when the other nations called us by another name, something came with that. Watch this. Come on.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6 and verse 6.
Come on.
Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days
Read.
or ancient feasts.
So they didn't want us to keep God's laws. This other nation, which is Edom, which is today's so-called white man, they didn't want us to do our laws, what God set up for us to do. That was the beginning of the process of breaking us up, dividing us. Watch this, come on.
Or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
He said, I don't even want you to call yourself a Jew. Don't even say it. Read.
And in the day of the king's birth, every month, they were bought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept,
So Bacchus is a Babylonian, a Greek tradition. He made us stop doing our laws and impose their laws. Now, the reason I'm touching on that, give me 1 Maccabees, chapter 1, and I believe it's like verse 11, where it says, great evils was multiplied in the earth. Give me that. Something happened when that man went into rulership. A lot of things happened. It's higher up, verse 8. Let's try verse 8. It is? Read.
the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 9.
Come on.
And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves.
So when it says after his death, it's talking about the ruler over the Grecians. You ever heard of Alexander the so-called Great? He was the ruler over the Grecians, right? So this is I want to say 336 BC, before Christ. This is when they first was set up. I'm going all the way back here to bring you all the way back up to the 1400s. Watch this. Come on.
So did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth.
When they came into rulership, the Bible says that evils was multiplied in the earth.
That's
verse 42, 43? When it says he forced us to do their ways?
41.
41? Come on.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 41.
Read.
Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
That's the same thing that's going on here today. That everyone should come to the great melting pot, Babylon the Great, where we all believe it's all love. Everyone believes in so-called Jesus. He said that everyone should what?
Should be one people.
Now this is in 336 BC. In order to imprint something on a nation, it don't start today.
Right.
You start it and you let it continue. You ever heard of the Willie Lynch?
Yeah.
Willie Lynch, right? That thing happened in the 1700s, I believe it was. But guess what? We all under it right now.
Right.
He said, I'm going to do this, and these slaves was going to be in subjection for over 1,000 years. I think that was the number he used, right? Watch this. Come on.
And everyone should leave his laws.
Do what?
Leave his laws.
So when you discontinue from your name, which our name according to the Bible is the nation of Israel, we discontinued from God's laws.
Right.
And we went with bywords and we were forced to keep their ways, right? Watch this, read on.
So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
The all who?
All the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
Get me back to Psalms 83. Watch this. All the heathen, all the other nations agreed to that thing. Watch this. I'm trying to show you that through a process of time, that what happened was we were given other names to keep us separate. Watch this.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 1.
Come on.
Keep not thou silent, O God.
Read.
Hold not thy peace.
Come on.
And be not still, O God.
Read.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
It says our enemies, the heathens, make a tumult. What's a tumult, Mark? You know what that is?
Not really. I got no idea what it means.
Okay, tell me what you think.
Like, stagnating, you know, like, not progress.
Okay, a tumult is an angry gathering. Meaning they all came together underneath a jealous. Remember he said, hold not thy peace.
Right.
Speaking about God's enemies. He wanted God to judge his enemies, right? Read that from 3.
Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel.
That's what a tumult is. Crafty counsel is an angry gathering underneath one consent. But we also read that in the Greek captivity, that they came together to make sure that we not underneath God's laws. Read on.
Against thy people.
Come on.
And have consulted against thy hidden ones.
Read.
They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Now, get me back to Deuteronomy 28. Now I want to show you something.
I got close up.
Hold on now, Mark. We got you here. Because what it is, what we trying to do. You said you got what? Okay, hold on. Give me a second. What? What we want you to do is when you leave here, you understand that you're not an African American.
Right.
You are an Israelite according to the Bible, and you have to keep God's commandments.
That's right.
Because how did we get here on slave ships? Because we didn't keep God's So what are we going to do to get out of here? We have to keep the commandments. Watch this. 49. Come on.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 49.
Now, remember, we spoke about Greece, Rome, right? Remember all of that? Watch this.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
This is part of the curses. He said he's going to bring a nation against us from far. In the 1400s, that nation didn't come from so far. We were in the land of Asia at the time, in the land of Europe, ruling as the Moors. But a nation came, come on.
From the end of the earth,
Read.
as swift as the eagle flying.
As swift as who?
The eagle flying.
It says as swift as the eagle flying. During the 1400s, the eagle was a symbol of who? What nation is this right here? That's a symbol. Yeah. Spanish.
Oh, okay.
Spain, right?
Yeah.
During the 1400s, that's who conquered us. Spain, England, and Britain. That was back then, right? But you see all of these coins is similar to today's money.
Right.
But this is all the same nation. You see that? Read it again.
As swift as the eagle flying. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Read.
A nation of fierce countenance.
Now that fierce countenance allowed them to give us other names and discontinue from our heritage. Right? He said something else. Right? Watch this. Read on.
Which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor unto the young. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy lands until thou be destroyed. Which also,
Read it again.
verse 51. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle.
Give me 50.
Verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
That's exactly what they did. After they conquered us, they gave us other names because we were discontinued. Once we lost in each and every captivity, they gave us different names.
Right.
With your name comes identity. When I just call you a color, you have no idea who you are.
Right.
That's what Moor is. That's what nigger is. That's what black is. It's the same thing in the same different translations, but without identity, you do not know who you are. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's important for us to come out here and teach our people, just show you who you really are. Because we think we Muslims, we think we 5%ers, we think we Moors, we think we Islam, Christian, Catholics. Black folks don't have no sense of identity at all. And like the officer was just bringing up, that's because our enemies has conspired against us to keep us destroyed. Give me Lamentations 2:1. Let me show you something. I'm going to show you what happened. Because when I asked the sister right here in the car, she said she's a Moor. Which we were the Moors.
Right.
But that's not our nationality. Read that, 2:1.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 2 and verse 1. How have the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger? And so the Lord...
Ain't gonna trucks, man. Read from the top again.
Lamentations, chapter 2 and verse 1. How have the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger?
It says, how have the Lord covered us with the cloud of his anger? He put the curses on us. Now we have completely forgot that we are God's children. We think we Negroes, African Americans, Mexicans, and Puerto Ricans. That's not who we are. Read.
And cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel.
See that? God cast down from heaven, meaning from our rulership, down into captivity, the beauty of Israel. Now, we don't know what our nationality is.
Right.
Because the enemies because we broke the commandments, and so the Most High God sent our enemies against us, and they keep that thing going to keep us destroyed. They trying to pass laws and do everything they can for the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans not to wake up. Give me Isaiah 1:3. Read.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 1 and verse 3. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib.
So God is talking about two animals. An ox know who his owner is, and a donkey know how to get back home. Read.
But Israel.
But Israel is the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You listening, sister?
Israel, that's our name. That's our nationality. Israel, read.
Doeth not know.
You blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we don't know who our God is, and we don't know how to get back home. The Bible is our way back home, but we don't know that. We try to go in all different philosophies and doctrines to try to find who we are when it's right here in the Bible telling us that we the children of Israel.
That's right.
Read it again.
The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib.
Read.
But Israel doeth not know.
Hey, black people, my sister, we don't know. That's what the Bible says. We really don't know who we are. Read.
My people doeth not consider.
It said, my people don't even consider that we God chosen people.
Right.
We don't even consider that we the Israelites.
That's right.
We don't even know what the name Israelite or Israel means.
Bring it out.
Give me that in Genesis 32.
Meaning, that's
There's
right.
meaning behind that name. That's the greatest name that you ever want to be a part of.
That's right.
Read it.
The book of Genesis, chapter 32 and verse 28. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob.
Because that was our forefather original name. His name, sometimes his name is known as Jacob, okay? But this is during the time when he wrestled with the angel. That's when his name was changed to what? Read on.
But Israel.
But what?
But Israel.
Read on.
For as a prince hath thy power with God.
Israel means a prince that has power with God.
That's right.
That's who we are.
That's right.
We are prince and princesses that has power with God.
That's
meaning
right.
we're going to rule the entire planet Earth.
That's
Right.
right. Bring it out.
I will say, but I got food, man.
Okay, brother, we're going to hold you up. But listen, man, always remember that you are God on the earth, brother.
Right.
You are a priest, you are a king, my brother.
That's
You
right.
from the tribe of Judah, brother.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Get in your Bible, give us a call, come here and join us, man.
That's right.
Because Christ said, listen, the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few.
That's right.
We got to pray for more laborers, brother. Come on, repent and get with the program. Because we trying to get out of here.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are how men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.